Welcome investor. This is episode 1 of Brazil Property ROI Series, where we analyze real investment opportunities across Brazil from an investor point of view, not as brokers but analysts. In this episode, we'll explore a recently completed building in Moema, São Paulo, and simulate the potential of ROI of a one-bedroom apartment, both for short-term and long-term rental strategies. You can also check out another video on this channel where I explore the entire block here in Moema, one of the most dynamic real estate zones in São Paulo right now, with multiple new developments under construction. I'm Lorenzo Tosini, the founder of Grow Abroad Consulting. We work with international investors, and on this channel we'll help you understand how to invest successfully in Brazilian real estate with real numbers, properties, and a realistic investor perspective. This video is for informational purposes only, is not financial or investment advice, and we are not promoting or selling any specific property. All numbers are simulated scenarios based on publicly available data and realistic market assumptions. Okay, let's start our analysis with the location. Location is a great location. Moema is one of the best neighborhoods in São Paulo. Why? Because it's located close by to the Ibirapuera Park, which is one of the most desired points of the city by tenants that want to rent apartments. Okay, so São Paulo, for those who don't know, is located over here in Brazil. And Moema, we are seeing right now, is located in this area, okay, over here. So Moema is divided, as we mentioned in other videos, in two main sides. One is Pássaros and one is Indios, okay. The most desired side is this one, but this side is developing fast, okay, with a lot of infrastructure upgrades, new projects being built up, and also new shops and restaurants, okay? But this in the future will improve, okay? It's already great, but this is much better so far today. So just to give you an overview, this is the project, Claris, by the developer Sequoia. Okay, just to give you a quick overview of the pictures of the project, and then we'll see afterwards how it is in reality today. So we have to take into account that the units inside of this building are between 32 square meters and 82 approximately, and they start from 628,000 reais, okay, which is a price of 19 and something thousand reais per square meter. We have also to take into account the outlook of this region of São Paulo, okay? So here is where it is located, the Claris. We see that there are different buildings being built up over here or recently delivered. We've seen this in a comparable unit, I mean, because there are of course many more buildings being constructed, but for example, the collection is another one. The collection is another one by Trisul, nice building that is gonna be a competitor of the Claris, of course. So we have to take into account that there are other buildings and also the buildings that are active with Airbnb rentals around here. There are over here, there are others over here. Right next to the building there is a Z Cotovia, which is operative with Airbnb's units. So we have to take all these factors into account. But what's interesting is that many developers are launching over here in these other areas of Moema, in the Indio side, which is less desirable, but still they are launching at a high price. We're talking about 2021, 19,000 reais. To be waiting as an investor for 3 long years, okay? So in here we can see that this is 19,000, but also if we check other prices, for example, this one For example, this one over here, we are talking 18,000 for this one, starting price, and it's 3 years waiting. Okay, so we have to take into account all this information. Okay, let's now see how it is the building for real. So the facade is a pretty cool facade, I would say one of the coolest in the area right now, with this blue modern touch. The entrance is divided in 2 entrances, one of the for the non-residential apartments on the left, and this is the main entrance for the residential apartments. Then here we have the lobby, where you can wait for Uber and relax. It's characterized, I would say, by a sober style. And then we move on, still on the ground floor, we move on to the gourmet area, or the party room, where you can invite friends, where tenants and owner can invite friends and have a party on Sundays, typically for less than 200 reais or 100 reais per day. In this part, you have also an exterior side of the party area with a grill, with a barbecue, churrasquera, guys, they would call it over here. We move to the gym. The gym is around 60-70 square meters, not a big gym, but still it has fancy equipments by Technogym, one of the best brands on the planet. As for the laundry room, the machines have been delivered, but it has not been finalized and installed yet. The nice touch of this building is the relax area, that it features a massage room where you can invite over your masseur or massagist and have a massage at your building, and also a sauna next to it. This is I would say Finnish style sauna that overlooks the exterior. I would have preferred some LED modern lights in this sauna, but still I love the sauna, so as long as it works, it's okay. The best part is this one, the exterior top pool with an accessible elevator and also a great view. Now, this day it was cloudy, but if there is sun, you could see an amazing view over here. Still can catch some of it. The pool is a nice pool, 25 meters long. You can swim over here or relax. And also you have the view on the bridge, on the Brooklyn Bridge, which one of the the Ponte Estaiada, which is the symbol of São Paulo. As for the apartments, the units are divided in, they are 1-bedroom apartments with a separate room. Of course, as I remember every time, this is not where you would live an investors, okay? So don't think who is gonna live inside of here, because someone is gonna rent these spaces. In this other unit type of 35 meters, you have a space dedicated for, it can be used for a desk for work, for example, home office. And then as well, this unit type is with a separated bedroom. I mean, these units have a small balcony, which is not worth to close with an additional glass ceiling, in our professional opinion. If this video caught your attention, click on like and subscribe. And if you want to know more about investing in Brazil and know if your investor profile is compatible with investments in Brazil, click on the link in the description and set up your strategy session with Grow Abroad in Real Estate. So going back to the analysis, the data from RDNA tells us that the average expected occupancy in this location is 67%. Okay, with an estimated average daily rate of 272 reais per day, with 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 3 guests. Okay, so then we go to analyze the potential of the rentability, the yield of this unit. So let's consider the listed price, okay, which is 628,000 approximately. And let's see the worst case scenario and the best case scenario for short term before moving to long term analysis. So with this scenario, I mean, no one pays usually the listing price, the standard price that is on the table of the prices, okay? So this is really the worst case scenario. I mean, we consider an occupancy of 21 days over the month. So that is 70%, which is very close to RDNAs, what RDNAs is providing, with a daily rate of 300 reais, sorry. So this shows us that the monthly revenue is around 6,300 reais, but there is a but. The fees, I mean the operating costs, they erode the gross rentability from a 10% down to a 4.58%. Why? Because the HOA's fees are pretty high for this building, because there aren't many units, so the overall cost of the sauna, the pool, and all the other amenities are divided among not a big number of units. The property taxes, utilities, this is all estimated. This is based on our professional opinion, so don't take this data for granted. Always conduct your own analysis. As we mentioned here, we are not giving professional and here we are not giving financial advice. This is just an analysis, okay? So as for the maintenance, 280 estimated, and this brings you to 4.58% yearly, okay, and 0.38 per month, okay? So now we'll check out and compare the best case scenario analysis, starting always with the listing price, and then checking out a better occupancy rate, okay? So let's push it up to 80% of the 30 days. That gives us 24 days per month and a slightly higher daily rate of 350 reais. So this brings us to 7.33 net and 13.42. Wow, this is great as gross, but still it has been, let's say, killed by the expenses down to 7.33. But now we'll dive deeper into this short-term analysis by applying a realistic discount to the listing price, okay? Realistic, I would say, probably it's the chance of getting this price is high in our professional opinion, but there is no guarantee depending on the moment and any other factors that are not under our control. Let's say that I or we or you invest in a property like this for 590,000 reais. This would bring up the yield, the net yield, up to almost 8%, and the gross yield to 14%. Always consider that in São Paulo the property management fees are between 15% and 20% of the gross income deriving from Airbnb. Then all of this is before taxes, okay? BT, before taxes. So, I mean, this is 774, okay? Let's keep this as optimistic and pessimistic. I would be honest here, 590 over here as well, to compare apples with apples, right? So 5% more or less against 8% more or less, okay? Worst and best scenario. Now we're gonna check the long-term yield simulation, which is gonna be probably more interesting for international investors. Why? Because here you have data that shows something interesting. So going to the Zé Cotovia building, which is right next to the Claris. This is in the picture is the Claris being built probably. So we can check here the prices of similar apartments, but here we find studio apartments, 23 meters, are being rented out for 3,366. Okay, this is the asking price. Let's reduce it for 3,000. 23 meters studio apartments, so not even with a separate bedrooms. They probably get around 3,000 reais. So based on this, okay, based on this information, this data, we can estimate, going back here, we can estimate a realistic price, it's all an estimate of course, of 4,500 reais per month for a much better apartment, because we are talking here a 32 meters apartment, and also with a separate bedroom that is much more appreciated by Brazilian tenants. And also for Airbnb guests, it's much more appreciated. So, but here we are focusing on the tenants for long term. So this gives us interesting conclusions. The property management for long-term rentals is around 10%, okay, of the gross income. And in this scenario, what strikes us is the HOA fees, the property tax, the IPTU, and utilities and cleaning and all so on and so forth are paid by the tenant. So it's not the owner responsibility to pay this actively. So they are, of course, paid by the owner, but they are anticipated by the tenant. Okay, so it's covered by the tenant, this kind of expenses. And also we consider a lower maintenance cost, okay, compared to the short-term rental, because of course there is less damage to the apartment, less changes of tenants and so on, that reduces the maintenance cost. So this is with the full price, okay, so the table standard price that nobody pays practically in the market. And then we see that we get 7.18 gross and down to 6.23 net, okay. And this is interesting because this gives us a better perspective than the worst case scenario of the short-term rental, as you can see here. So this is with the standard price. So let's do a simulation with a possible, I wouldn't say for sure that is granted, but a possible negotiated price of 590,000 reais. This is gonna push the gross to 8%, and then per year, and then to 6.58% net. But always keep into account that we are not doing this calculation only on the value that the investors pay for the apartment, also on including the property transfer taxes fees, and also the decoration value, okay, because we consider around 3,000 reais per square meter to renovate the apartment. And so the total investment is this one, so we calculate the return on the total investment. So let's say just to simulate, you're a super negotiator and you find your way to negotiate this apartment to 550,000 reais. Just to simulate, you would arrive to an estimate of 7% net and 8% gross, okay, as for yield for this apartment. And then let's do the same simulation for the best case scenario over here. 550k, you would reach 8.23, okay? 8.23 net, because there are all these costs implied. And then you have here 6.99. So, dear investors, I mean, for 1% difference, the question that I leave to you is, does it make sense to rent on Airbnb for just 1.23%, 0.24% more? In my professional opinion, it doesn't. So because you have more cost, it's a more complicated operation, of course. Yeah. Where the discrepancy between the estimate is higher, much higher, like 3%, of course it makes sense. But in this case, honestly, I wouldn't. If I had to invest myself in this unit, I wouldn't put it on Airbnb, but I would put it on long term. So there is another important detail. The condominium laws on this specific building, they are not being established yet. So it's not yet guaranteed that this condominium allows owners to rent on Airbnb. And always keep into account that besides NR units, not residential units. The R2V units, the residential units, they are bound to the decision of the condominium, the majority of the owners, to allow or not allow Airbnb, whether to allow or not Airbnb, okay? So just getting to the conclusion, I mean, what we have seen so far, the location, I would give it an 8.5. I mean, this Moema is an amazing location. If I had to live, I'm not living in Brazil, but if I had to live in São Paulo, I would choose Moema in my top 3 locations. As for the building, it's a nice building, nothing too fancy or exaggerated like Tegra's building or Cirella's luxury buildings and so on. But still looks pretty comfortable. I love the pool on the top. Unfortunately, we didn't film in a sunny day. And then as for the apartments layout, I mean, the layout of the apartments, it's really stand out. I mean, the plan of the apartment it's a great. The floor plan of the apartment is a great floor plan. So the layout allows to optimize the space. And as for the short rental potential, it didn't convince me that much. First, because it's not confirmed that they can be rented on Airbnb. Most likely they will, but probably not. So there is not a big difference between the yield, the net yield that owners, investors can get between renting on short term and long term. So probably is not that interesting for short rental potential. But for long-term rental potential, I mean, in this area there is a lot of demand, so I would say 8/10. And value for money, I mean, this is a point in favor of this building and location in this project, because it is selling at a lower or identical price of what is being launched in the other side of Moema, which is less desirable, and it's selling at 20,000, 21,000 reais, even if investors have to wait for a year, for 3 years. As for the local market outlook, as we have seen before, I mean, there is a lot of competition expected in the future, with Trisul building a building next to these Sequoia Claris on the front, and there are gonna be around 400 or 500 units in the other building. So you can expect a lot of competition for short term. So as the final verdict, the location is great. The market outlook is so and so, because many units of different buildings are launching and delivering in this period. So the competition is pretty high as for short-term rentals. But as for long-term rentals, I would probably give it a chance myself if I weren't involved in other investment I'm making right now in more interesting projects.